That feat has occurred only 10 times in the previous 20 years. And as you see from this list, it was Earl himself who had done it on 2 occasions. He first accomplished it in 1981, the year he went on to set a record of over $164,000 in earnings. Actually, Earl outdid even himself that winter as he won 4 tournaments, again another unprecedented accomplishment. Last year, he became the only man to win 3 victories on 2 occasions. Now the question remains, can he win 3 Winter Tour stops for a record 3rd time? We'll find out today. ABC Sports presents the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today it's stop number 13, and the tour has traveled to New England, to Hartford, Connecticut, the insurance capital of the world, where the tournament site is Bradley Bowl, the host site for the past 10 years. The tournament leader today needs no introduction. He's bowling's all-time leading money winner and title holder from Dublin, California, Earl Anthony. In second place is this year's number 2 money winner from St. Petersburg, Florida, Tom Milton. Our number 3 seeded bowler has been a runner-up 4 times, but never a winner, from Houston, Texas, Pete McCordic. In our opening match, the holder of 11 titles from Chagrin Falls, Ohio, veteran Mike Durbin. He'll face Steve Wunderlich of St. Louis, Missouri, who is seeking his first PBA title. We're pleased to be back at Bradley Bowl in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, adjacent to Hartford, the $110,000 Greater Hartford Open. And what a field we have today. Good afternoon, I'm Chris Schenkel. In our field today, 2 non-winners, the other 3, a total of 53 PBA titles. And of course, the one man that has 41 we talked about a little bit earlier, Mike Durbin, has 11. And Earl Anthony, who set the total money won in a year in 1981, he's ahead of that pace here in 1983. Take a look. 71,000 nearly in 1981 after 12 weeks, 12 telecasts, and now after 12 telecasts here in 1983, nearly 80,000. So, can he break his own record? Well, today's important because the winner will get $15,000. And speaking of winners, Nelson Burton Jr. won here twice. He bowled this week fairly well. He can tell you about that later, but right now, 2 great champions together, Earl Anthony and Nelson Burton Jr. Both.
Thank you, Chris. Earl, 4 titles in 1981, 3 titles in 1982. You've already won twice in 83. You're threatening to win your 3rd here today. Why are you so tough on the PBA Winter Tour?
Bo, I think it's because this is where we have all the money, basically, on our tour. And I pump up for the major tournaments. I seem to do better when there's a lot more money on the line and major titles. And I have a tendency to lay off or get lazy in the summer tour.
Well, Earl, when you walked in here on Tuesday, you immediately drilled 2 brand new bowling balls without even testing the lanes. Can you tell us why?
Past experience. You know, when you've been at this for 14 years, you kind of have an idea what the center is like. I didn't bowl here last year, but I knew in the past that I'd need a new surface, something that would skid through the first part of the lane for me very well. So I drilled up a hard, medium hard plastic urethane type bowling ball, something I could get down the lane, and fortunately it worked very well for me.
Chris, he looks very tough again to win his 2nd title here at Bradley Bowl and dominate the Winter Tour. Back to you.
Okay, he is the man to beat. Earl Anthony, as we go into that first match, Earl will have to wait, because Steve Wunderlich now will go against the 11-time champion, Mike Durbin. Steve, a 25-year-older from St. Louis, Missouri, and here first shooting is Mike Durbin from Chagrin Falls, Ohio. 3rd appearance this year. In the national championship won by Earl, Mike finished 2nd. That was in Toledo. First shot. Oh, and he gets a high hit and leaves the 4-9 Nelson, so Mike has the pressure right after the first shot.
Mike switching to a harder ball to convert the spare. He figures he's a little more accurate throwing a harder ball. Mike said he was going to struggle in the championship round today. Let's see what happens. He's off to a bad start.
So with that blue bowling ball here at Bradley Bowl, Windsor Locks, Connecticut, adjacent to Bradley Field, we have Steve Wunderlich now of St. Louis and a protege of Bo Burton. Fine young 25-year-old. Had a birthday on Thursday, looking for his first win. Nelson behind that one. He had both arms flying.
Chris, 4 years ago, I met Steve Wunderlich in St. Louis. He was a raw talent, a great young athlete. He's worked on his game a lot with me and practicing, but it's really, to his credit, he's developed from a power wild player to a very sound, firm player, starting to get to the top on the PBA Tour.
Okay. Hoping to double here would put him out to a nifty lead early in this first match. Well, all but the 4-pin, and perhaps we'll see a few of those today.
Same shot that Durbin had, except Steve Wunderlich was lucky enough to knock out the 9-pin. He also was opting for a harder ball to convert the spare. Almost all the players on the tour throw the balls that hook a lot on the first shot and roll the straighter or harder ball that doesn't hook on the spare shots.
So Steve Wunderlich, looking for his first PBA title, has marked with a strike and a spare. Mike Durbin now will show you what he's made of, because he had an open frame, 9-pin count in the first, now shooting in the second of the first game. And if you just joined us, the winner will meet Pete McCordic of Houston, then Tom Milton of St. Petersburg, and followed by a match against Earl Anthony, the tournament leader for the title. Less tension in that face of Mike Durbin. And strikes tend to do that. There you see he's a 41-year-old bowling out of Chagrin Falls, Ohio. 11 titles. Had a 256 average on this championship pair this week. Steve Wunderlich, 199. Just another day, however.
Agreed, Chris. The lanes, they say, are hooking just a pinch more. It affects the trajectory of the ball.
Mike at the line, walked away. 1-2.
It's surprising to see Durbin have so much trouble in the championship round. He struggled in the Miller High Life Classic in Milwaukee a couple weeks ago, and here again, he's struggling in the opening round. He slides by the head pin on the right side. Remember, he left the 4-9 split in the first frame, made the adjustment, and over-adjusted. He has an easy spare, the 1-2.
Who perspires heavily. Do a lot of practicing coming into these matches. And of course, with lights, with relatively mild outdoors, it's warm. Well, the boy from banks of the Mississippi really drilled that one into the pocket.
Good athlete Steve Wunderlich has learned his lessons well as you watch his ball come up. Both players using polyurethane bowling balls, and Wunderlich, a good athlete. He was a great third baseman at Parkway Central High School in West County, St. Louis, and a good hitter. Has a great hand-eye coordination.
Never worse than fifth all week long. Thought maybe. But he'll have to now cover a 10-pin on the left lane of this championship pair.
Steve has one problem. It's making the 10-pin, Chris. As good as accuracy as he has a mental block about making the spares. He goes in streaks. Either makes it for a week or two or misses it. So far, he's been good this week. Let's see what happens on this shot.
So another product in the professional ranks now of junior bowling. Steve Wunderlich has marked with a spare. Fourth frame, leading by 11 pins. More of the first match, but first, a great shot following a victory of Alberto Salazar Bow, and he has his work cut out for him in the Rotterdam Marathon.
Chris Di Castello is very tough from Australia. In fact, he only has trails the record by 0.05 of a second in over 2 hours of running.
And Mike Durbin now on the right lane of this championship pair. Gets his second strike of the match. Now remember, he had an open frame in the first. Strike, spare, strike. And now if he can double, he can cut the lead to 1 pin against Steve Wunderlich of St. Louis. Mike today, look at that. He will go over the $500,000 earning mark. Really It's the 7-pin on the left lane.
The luck of the championship rounds up until his loss to Earl Anthony in Toledo at the national championship. Mike Durbin was 20 wins and 4 losses over the past 3 years. Now he's dropped to 20-6. He's threatening to lose 3 in a row.
Frustrated Mike Durbin here. Just averaged tremendous 256 on this championship pair. This is Steve Wunderlich now with a spare working, shooting in the 5th frame, 11-pin lead. All right, we asked Steve earlier what the keys are to rolling a perfect game. He's had a lot of them.
The key to shooting a lot of 300s is, first of all, you have to have good lane conditions, and secondly, you have to have a good positive attitude that will allow you to throw them one at a time, and when you get up in the 10th to know you can throw all 3. And thirdly, you have to throw a good strong ball so that you can carry the off hits.
And this young man has them all, Chris, as he can take a lead of 21 with another strike.
Instead, leaving the 3, 6, 9, and 10 on the left lane. Let's replay that shot by Steve Wunderlich.
Goes high, leaves the 3, 6, 9, 10, the toughest spare for professional bowlers. You have to guard against the chop of the 3-pin off the 6, but still try to carry the 10. A tough shot. He's going to shoot it down the right side and hook the ball into the 3, 6 area.
Oh, just nipped the 3-pin in that cluster. A little body English, if you ever saw a left hip move laterally, it was Steve's. Now Mike Durbin. Still close, as you see, 11 pins, spare up, shooting in the 6th frame. Mike has had 2 strikes on this lane. Neither bowler has struck on the left lane.
Good point, Chris. Remember, last year, the right-hand lane was the downfall of Pete McCordic, as he never got a strike on it. So various styles hit different lane conditions.
And it's Pete McCordic who will meet the winner of this match. And Mike had his concentration broken, did the smart thing, stepped away, put the ball down. Sixth frame. So he has 3 strikes now in the right lane. Mike Durbin. There was a sign of a veteran bowler, Nelson, stopping and collecting things and then shooting.
Chris, being a veteran, this is where his experience could come in the match. He needs this strike to close the match down to just 1 pin difference. Wonderlick doesn't seem to be able to hit the left lane, neither does Durbin, but this is an important shot.
His 2 sons, Mike and Matthew, are watching here at Bradley Bowl in Windsor Lux. And that one crossed over and he left the 610. He's scratching his head. He can't quite figure out what's happening. There's Matthew.
As you see the trajectory of the ball, that extreme outside line, but Durbin gave it no chance. There at the 40-foot mark, the ball straight in the nose. He almost crosses over and gets to Brooklyn. He has a tough 610 spare. He's got to avoid the chop, remain trailing by 11.
And it is a fine cross-laser shot by Mike Durbin. We're live at Windsor Locks, Connecticut for the Greater Hartford. First strike on the left lane. He had struck on the right lane until the 7th frame, which he bowled while we were away. And this is what he did in the 7th frame. Take a look at this shot.
Big talk. The 4, 6, 7, 10. It changed the match around. Wonderlick was leading by 11, now trails by 5. 8th frame for Durbin.
And he has a spare working. Mike Durbin, 41 years old, 6'1", 175 pounds. 11-time champion. And jumping right on the situation. And there you see the 5-pin lead, which can be increased to 15 if he can strike in the important foundation 9th.
Every match comes down to a pivotal frame, and this is the one for Mike Durbin, the 9th frame. He leads by 5, but he has struggled on the left lane. If he can strike here, he'll have a 15-pin lead going into the 10th on his good lane.
And the 3-10 split on the left. Hits his forward again, like, what's going on the left lane?
Durbin goes high, leaves the 3-10 here in the 9th, needs to convert it to stay in the lead, cuts right through the heart, knocks the 6 out, has a tough split in this situation. 2-1 for the pros, but even tougher under this pressure.
So he started with an open frame and now has an open frame in the 9th, 157 through 9. And remember, Wonderlick now shooting in the 9th with a strike in the 8th. Big shot. Tremendously high hit, and there must have been a lot on that ball.
Chris, he has a great roll on the ball, and he also got a great break. Durbin had that same opportunity in the 9th frame as the scoreboard shows. Durbin got an open, Wonderlick got a strike, changed the match all around. Now all that Wonderlick needs is a spare here in the 10th frame to assure a victory.
Steve's first championship round appearance this year. Going to move ahead. For Mike Durbin, it's $4,000 in finishing 5th, and it does, in career money earned, put him over the $500,000 mark in his 16 years as a professional in the PBA.
As Durbin sees it, Wonderlick can finish with a 214 game. The best Durbin can do is 187.
So, you have the winner of match 1. Let's pause to hear from some of the sponsors of the Professional Bowlers Tour today in Connecticut. 4, Mike Durbin in losing picks up the $4,000 check. A 214 for Wonderlick, the winner in the 180s for Mike Durbin. Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from our sponsor and station ID. Professional Bowlers Tour live from Connecticut. We go into the second match now after Steve Wunderlich with 8 strikes defeated Mike Durbin 214 to 187. Goes against another non-winner, Pete McCordic, seated there on the left from Houston, Texas. Big win for this 25-year-old professional. He'll shoot first, and he is on the left lane. You can see the pleased expression on the face of this young fellow. And there you see how the matches will progress, or have. The first 214, 187. Now it's McCordic. Then it'll be Tom Milton, and then Earl Anthony. McCordic, 29 years old, looking for his first victory.
Pete McCordic qualified 24th, just sneaking into the top 24, the first cut after 18 games, worked himself all the way up into the number 3 position. Chris, he hits his house very well, but he just did something he failed to do all last year, that strike on the right-hand lane. He's off to a good start.
Okay. Now to the right of center on the approach of the left lane. Crossed over, got them all, nonetheless. He'll take it.
The players on the tour call that an RBF, and that means a reverse blowing 5. Chris, the ball was running away so fast that the 2-pin actually knocked out the 5-pin. A great break.
Now Wonderlick, he opened with a strike on the left. Now he's on the right to keep even this shot. Oh, mixing 60 feet away, and it's 2 frames for each pro, 2 strikes for each.
Steve Wunderlich, who travels with his wife Cindy on the tour in a mobile home or mobile trailer that they pull, enjoys the life, is a dedicated practicer, and it shows up with that great form he has. Watch the power on his ball. 12 to 14 revolutions from the foul line to the pins. That's why the great action.
And Steve's crosses over, but it didn't do what Pete's did. Leaving the 6-pin, and there is Cindy. She can smile.
Well, Steve got a chance to get a great break like McCordic did in his second frame, crossing over, but not to be, but he still has a very easy spare, the 6-pin.
For Steve Wunderlich, for whom we're looking, this is 4th year as a professional. For Pete McCordic, it is his 11th. It's his second championship round. Here in our telecast earlier in the winter tour, he finished 5th, losing his opening match in the Greater Miami Sunshine Open.
The profile of Pete McCordic. We talk about a brick wall at the foul line. That's what is meant by there's a wall up there and your head and legs stay behind that wall and your arm goes through it. Now look, he's in great position. And look right here at the foul line how his hand and arm come up through this area. His body stays back in here. A great shot.
Now in the left lane, had a 299 game in the 7th game last night to get into this. String ends at 3, leaving the 4, 6, 7 for Pete McCordic.
The story is being written on the left lane. In the first match, the player struck 91% on the left lane, just 33% on the right lane. And here we see the left lane, the downfall so far of McCordic. He got a great break crossing over in the second frame, the 4, 6, 7 split in the 4th.
McCordic with that open frame finished 2nd here last year as Pete Weber went on to win. We're in our second match, 4-pin lead by Wonderlick. More action following that. Steve Wunderlich, who won his first match, eliminating Mike Durbin 214 to 187. Now leading by 4 in the second match against McCordic. 4th frame, spare working. Appeared to be a very high hit, but it's one that Steve appreciated, especially on the right lane. Here was his strategy.
He's going to use a ball that hooks, and if it starts hooking too much, he'll change to a harder ball. Right now, all he has to do is figure out the left lane. That's the key to both matches. Every player has struggled on the left and hit the right.
Looking mighty smooth, fine tempo, not rushing anything as he put together that double, giving him a 14-pin lead. 2 deserving gentlemen. Bill Allen, the great bowling professional, and one of the 2 inductees into the PBA Hall of Fame, the other for meritorious service. The tournament director, Harry Golden, congratulations to both. Big strike for McCordic of Houston, Texas. We asked his strategy today, particularly on lane 28, the one on which he just struck.
Well, last year on lane 28, I never did strike. It ended up costing me the tournament. I struck almost every shot on lane 27. This year, I'm going to be more determined to take a little bit extra time on 28 to make as pure and as crisp shots as possible. And if I do this, I'm sure I can strike on lane 28 when it counts.
Pete McCordic, you see the little microphone there on his second button. It's a wireless mic. He hasn't said much yet to pick up. He might. Stomped his foot at the line because the ball really crossed over, leaving it 3-6.
Well, to reiterate, it's the left-hand lane that none of the players can even come close to. McCordic strike perfect on the right lane in the first frame, crossover lucky shot in the second, strike perfect in the third, split in the fourth, strike in the fifth, trouble again in the sixth. He trails by 14, has a tough spare of the 3-6.
Texas bowler, Pete McCordic, who has an identical twin brother named Paul, who had his best PBA finish last year of 2nd in the Denver Open. Now Wonderlick. Double going, shooting in the 6th frame. It's his second match today. 3-bagger and a smile. There you see the story, a 24-pin advantage at this moment for Steve as we replay the shot.
5-step delivery, Chris. Good push away. Look at this hand position, wrist. Now, a tremendous wrist action at the bottom of the shot. Look at this knee bend. We talked again. Augusta got the brick wall. You can see the foul line. His arm penetrates it. His body stays behind. He leads by 24, 7th frame.
Most of us would love to have that arm swing. Beautiful. He's hot. He had 8 strikes in the first match for victory. And now here in the second, instead of weakening, he's becoming stronger with 4 in a row. And a 34-pin lead as we leave Windsor Locks only momentarily. More action after this on ABC's Wide World of Sports today. Amateur boxing finest and the Rotterdam Marathon. The two greats head-to-head. Woo.
Chris, can the American team keep up with the Cuban team this year?
Might be hard in Cuba. And the reason I say that, we keep trying to find new and give our young boxers experience where the Cubans will throw their very best at you, regardless, as they say.
Well, it all really counts in 1984 at the Olympics. That's the big year. Scoreboard shows Wonderlick leading by 34. McCordic has to get it going right here. So far in the match, Wonderlick has struck 7 times in the 2 games on the left-hand lane. His opponents just once, and that was McCordic in the 2nd frame.
Worried about that arm and shoulder. 4-7 on the left lane.
You can see why they're having problems. The ball starts over the first arrow, and here's what happens. It cuts too sharply when they started up. Watch this ball going high. It looks good. Then it breaks very sharply at the pocket, breaks down the split, the 4-7-10. When they send it wide, they get the washout or a tough spare.
One of the many reasons that when you do this professionally, it is a difficult, frustrating form of competition. Now Wonderlick has made it look easy in the last 4 frames in particular. 8th frame. Dancing bowling pins, and it's a 5-bagger now for St. Louis's Steve Wunderlich.
Wonderlick with that great power. He's a much stronger player as far as his ball goes than either Durbin or McCordic. He's taking advantage of it. Watch him drive that 5 over into the 4-7 area. Revolutions and power and angle just tears him apart. He has a big lead.
And good reaction. Did you teach him that, Bo?
No, when you're going for the big bucks, that's automatic.
That comes from within, doesn't it? There's that left lane again, leaving the 6-10. And the fans here appreciate the string of 5 that he had put together after opening with a double and marking with a spare in the 3rd frame.
The 6-10, Wonderlick uses a kill shot or breaks his wrist and reduces the roll and hook on the ball to cover the spares. Remember, accuracy is #1 in this sport.
McCordic with a must situation in the 9th frame. Then hit it's 2-5 and
it's all over, Chris. He needed that strike and strike out in the 10th frame on his tough lane, the left lane. The best he can do is 213. Wonderlick has 217 regardless of what happens.
But before saying adios, it'll be a $5,000 check for Pete McCordic. Last year finished second behind Pete Weber. He will have finished fourth today. So it means that then Steve Wunderlich won the first two matches. Will be going against a winner this year, Tom Milton, and that should be an interesting match. Milton is tall and strong and a fine competitor. That after that, he'll go against Tom Milton of St. Petersburg, Florida. It's time now for our Rolaids Tip of the Week. Hand-eye coordination. Nelson Burton Jr. is going to concentrate on this. It'll really help your game, so be sure to watch and listen.
The Professional Bowler's Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
In most sports, good hand-eye coordination is the basis for a winning performance. In golf, notice how Jack Nicklaus keeps his eye on the ball, typifying the coordination needed in most sports. Bowling is one such sport, and the presence of a steady head is key, because the head controls the body. Today's tip is going to show you the importance of a stationary head at the point of release. In a properly executed bowling shot, the head remains steady and the eyes are fixed on the target, because the head is the catalyst that controls your body movements. Notice how my arm will follow the line of sight towards the intended target, in this case, the second arrow. The unwavering head and eyes make for consistency and accuracy. In this shot, notice how my head and body are in good position, but at the release point, my head begins to pull up and raising the body and missing the intended target. When the head is unsteady, hand-eye coordination is affected. If you drop your head, you miss to the right, the first arrow. If you raise your head, you will pull the ball away from the intended second arrow and toward the third arrow. So remember, in bowling, like many other major sports, a steady head position at the point of release will help you achieve your maximum results.
Roger Stock. The amateur field of 1,466 in bow, a pro field of 160 of the best.
$212 to cash, $910. Pete Couture got the last spot, $216 to make the top 24. And here's some of the players. David Houston, Ernie Schlegel, 40 years old. Mike Albee bowled a 116 game this week, still made the top 24. Ralph Hartman, 300. Contemporary Kenny Fernandez, Roger Haskell, nice guy Charlie Tapp, superstar Berardi, Sal Bemini, the left-hander up there, Petraglia in there. Tom Baker stroking along, all-time great Dave Davis, cranker Darrell Bauer, the doubles champ Sam Zurich, Arnie Goldman, Steve Brichta, cranker Bob Hanley, and Don Sylvia round out the top 24, Chrissa Goodfield.
And here in Hartford, Connecticut, bowling's best, Earl Anthony, is in the lead, and the United States versus Cuba presents the best in amateur boxing. Cuba #1, the United States #2, Nelson. And you know, we're producing some great amateur boxers that should be ready by '84, and this is one of their sternest and most valuable tests, live from Havana today on Wide World.
Well, I hope they do well. We had two St. Louis players win the Golden Gloves, and they'll be trying out for the Olympic boxing team also, so they should be somebody to look for.
More the merrier, and also on ABC's Wide World. The semifinal game, the winner of which will go into the finals against Earl Anthony for the winner's $15,000. But right now, Tom Milton, who finished second overall, has to go against Steve Wunderlich, who has won 2 matches hot, 255 in his last victory over Pete McCordic's 203. But Milton has been in the winner's circle. Did it this year. First shot.
I think he has a style that may hit this left lane. He throws the big hook. He sends it wide. He might get a good shot.
So the winner of the Showboat Invitational, Tom Milton, opens with a strike. Immediate pressure on a 2-time winner already today, Steve Wunderlich. Wunderlich is 25 from St. Louis, and Milton is 27 from St. Petersburg. Tet for tat. Good strike. He had 9 in the last game, 8 in the first game, and his 18th while as we watch his footwork.
The methodical 5-step delivery of Steve Wunderlich. He's got those little arrows on the front of his shoes so he can precisionally mark his foot on the approach. Drives right through the ball. Excellent finish. What a resounding strike he got on that shot.
The concentration. All but the 4. Ball coming up late, high.
Wife Cindy looking on, kind of rooting him. She helps him a lot with his bowling, Chris. She writes a chart on every game he bowls so they know how to play the pair of lanes. Like on this pair, she would chart high in the second frame. They'd go back and study that at night and make adjustments as the tournament goes along. A great asset.
And there's just an error that we see the greatest do from time to time, but it's unfortunate.
Wonderlick, who hasn't shot a spare over on the left side. You see that ball just sliding by. It looks like it's going to bite. It just misses it by such a small amount. That's his one drawback in his powerful game. He has trouble with spares.
Milton A strike on the left lane now, the first shot on the right. So he has doubled. Waiting in the wings after 2 wins by Wonderlick. 6'3", 200-pound Tom Milton of St. Petersburg has opened with a double and a quick 22-pin lead. The winner, remember, goes in to the championship head-to-head match against Earl Anthony. That 3 in a row for Tom Milton. Capacity crowd here in our 12 telecasts coming into our 13th. Look at the first-time winners on the tour this year. Contreras, Milton, Salvameni, Duke, Janela, and Fay.
This man here needs to win one, Chris. He's not eligible for the Firestone.
Fine composure, good concentration, coming back in the right lane and marking with an important spare. If you just joined us, he won the first match over Mike Durbin, 214 to 187. His second, 255 to Pete McCordic's 203.
Wonderlick has a performance rating that is a average of the amount of finishes he's had this year. In other words, he's bowled in 12 tournaments. He's rated right up near the top.
Hoping for a double. He's happy with that one because he's cut the lead, which was 32 to 22. Because Tommy Milton, his opponent today, has strung 3, and we're going to see more of this semifinal match from Windsor Locks, Connecticut after that.
As you see, his PBA performance rating, that's a rating simply an average of the finishes a player has had in all the tournaments he's competed in so far this year. A player must participate in at least 2/3 of the tournaments to be eligible. Tom Milton right up there in the top.
All right, that's a 4-bagger. We asked Tom to explain the support he wears on his right elbow.
Well, in 1981 in the tournament in Fremont, I hurt my arm, and it was a pinched nerve. It caused me to lay off for about 10 months. And when I came back, I just started using it from someone back home, made it for me, and it's become a crutch now. I don't think I could bowl without it.
Okay.
It's also helped him, Chris. He used to have a high arm swing. Now it's shorter, and he has a little less speed on the ball, which gives him improved carry, as you see that fingertip grip.
4 in a row, 5th frame, semifinal game. Tom Milton, St. Petersburg. Well, it brings you back down to earth when you're going along perfectly, and you come up with a 310, and on that left lane, Bo, where he started.
Well, he's got the type of shot, Chris, we said, that could hit the left lanes, very similar to Wonderlick's, as you see Milton's ball cut highly, the 310 split. The way to hit the left lane seems to swing the ball real wide, then break it very sharply at the back end. Both players are doing it, but you must trust the ball and keep it wide.
Oh, he'd love to convert this. So it's an open frame after perfection.
You see the ball of Tom Milton not deflecting. He shot it down the right side, Chris. We recommend shooting it down the left side so the ball deflects from the 3 into the 10. A slight error for Tom Milton.
Double working. All but the 10. First time we've seen Steve, 25-year-old, was 25 on Thursday, sort of leave the line disappointed. Hopefully he won't let it get him down, the fact that he left the 7. All right, back in good form. Steve Wunderlich of St. Louis hanging on to a 19-pin lead after 2 wins here in Windsor Locks.
Steve Wunderlich, who travels in the motorhome, also bums around quite a bit, or travels with Sherry and Gary Skidmore, the winner of the Miller High Life Classic. Good friends out here. They help each other.
Trails by 19, a spare working, 6th frame. A hit the 6, 7, 10.
We see what's happening every week. As the lanes are bowled on longer and longer, they start to hook a lot. And what happens, this ball cuts right through the heart of the pins, leaves the 6, 7, 10. He must make the adjustment on the approach. You must move left when your ball is hooking too far to the left.
Lots of speed. Covers the 6-10. 7-pin standing. It's an open frame for Steve Wunderlich. And now here's Tom Milton. He too had an open in the last frame, shooting in the 6th, still with a 33-pin lead. Beautifully controlling the speed on the right lane, Tom Milton, and it's a strike in the 6th frame.
Milton's strategy on the championship pair, he played the inside line. That means towards the center of the lane. He was playing in the track area between the 2nd and 3rd arrows on the right side. Today he said he struggled with this pair because it was hooking too much. He's opted for the outside line. It looks like he's made the right decision.
Well, you professionals have to be very versatile. You have to be able to change to the conditions.
Adapting conditions and the psychology of match play are two of the very important things on the professional bowlers tour.
With a strike in the 7th, he can take a 43-pin lead. Almost effortless the way Tom Milton bowls, and having his way by 43 pins here in the semifinal match. Don't go away. We're going to leave for a message and then more action.
Baltimore for the $120,000 Fairlanes Open. Defending champion Malacosta leads the charge for the $18,000 top prize. So join us next Saturday afternoon live at 3:30 Eastern Time here on ABC.
That's right, the Fairlanes Open, Baltimore, Maryland next week, Long Island after that, and then the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Bo, will we see you in Baltimore?
Chris, I'm going to skip the Baltimore tournament. My niece Kathleen Coyle had some severe surgery this week, and my son Waymore will be 5 years old on Sunday, and I'll go home and enjoy that birthday party, but be back for the Firestone.
Wish them both well. Ah, yes, Steve Wunderlich of St. Louis. There's a man that averaged .234 in his 2 victories coming into the semifinal match. Then bumped into Tom Milton with 4 baggers. You see an open frame and a double. Got the lead now to 33 if he can strike in the 8th frame, and it's getting late.
The lane that got Wonderlick where he is now is also the one that's driving him down. Watch the 2 pin. It's going to the sideboard. Knock out this 4 and then come over and try to knock out the 9 pin. Watch this. Well, as Wonderlick grabbed a second hard ball to shoot the spear, you didn't see the replay, but the 2 pin did the damage. Knocked the 4 out and almost got the 9.
Look how carefully Tom Milton sets himself on the approach, using all but about 3 inches of it. Grooved shot by Tom Milton of St. Petersburg, Florida. This year he is second to Earl Anthony with 79,780. This week averaged .224. So if he can maintain his margin here and win the semifinal matches, he requests a re-rack. It'll be a match between numbers 1 and 2 money earners. Harry Golden.
The reason you see Harry Golden, who is a new Hall of Famer, is this is the 4th re-rack from Tom Milton. It was refused by Golden. Let's see how it affects Milton's shot.
Okay. All but the 10. A little late. coming up.
Tom Milton, who has a PBA player performance rating this year, he's in the top 5. He's rated 5th. Earl Anthony is rated number 2. And the number 1 guy, Marshall Holman, is not here this week. He canceled out of this tournament, Baltimore and Long Island, to prepare for the Firestone.
Anxious moments at the line for Tom Milton, thinking the ball would find the channel. But it kept rotating, hanging on, and covering the pin that he wanted to knock down in the 9th frame to maintain a 52-pin lead. Now with a re-rack, Steve Wunderlich, 2-match game winner already today, 9th frame. So it's a 7-pin on the right lane.
Trouble in River City. Best Wonderlick can do is 192. Milton already home with at least 205. It's going to be Milton and Anthony for the title.
What a match. Number 1 money winner this year and all time. Earl Anthony, the tournament leader, and this man, Tom Milton, who won the Showboat Invitational, has been bowling great. So it's numbers 1 and 2 against each other, head to head for the championship. As you say it, doesn't matter how you say it. Okay, we're in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, and Tom Milton, who finished 2nd overall, has eliminated Steve Wunderlich, who had that 234 average in his first 2 wins, 245 to 190, and Earl Anthony has a couple of practice shots left here, and he's going for his 42nd title, the greatest, and qualified first, as he's done so often, for this championship round. And he's winning a lot of money this year. In fact, again, he leads in money earned. And as you can see, his opponent, Tom Milton, is 2nd in money earned, followed by Tom Baker, Marshall Holman, and Gary Dickerson, Bo.
Chris,
So-
this match could go a long way in determining who's going to be bowler of the year for the year. You know, Durbin is up there, but Milton's 1-1 and Anthony's 1-2. If Milton could win this match, he could throw his hat in the ring for the voting.
All right, and here's the match coming up for the Greater Hartford Open Championship at $15,000. Earl Anthony, 44 years old, on the left, going against 27-year-old Tom Milton. Milton winning his only title at the Showboat Invitational this year. But he bowled a big 245 with 10 strikes in the victory over Steve Wunderlich, who shot a 190. Here we go, first shot. His 11th strike in a short period of time here at the Bradley Bowl. Landing pattern of Bradley Field, Bo, is in off in another direction today.
Very lucky we're sitting on the approach of number 4, and if the wind is out of the north, we get buzzed by some jets. But today it's nice and quiet as great champion Earl Anthony takes his first shot. A bitter disappointment. Earl shrugged it off with a slight applause, leaving the 7-10. Well, you remember how he started in Toledo when he eventually defeated Mike Durbin. He started with opens 3 out of the first 4 frames. Here he gets a real bad break, the swishing 7-10. Earl would just go for 1 pin.
And he goes for the 7. The man that's in his 4th championship round appearance this year. Earlier, he won the True Value Open in Peoria. And then 2 weeks later, he won again, defeating Mike Durbin for a national championship of the PBA. Name any title, he's won it.
The bowling ball Anthony is using today is a combination of a polyurethane composition and polyester composition. Tom Milton using a polyester bowling ball. Both very effective.
Earl has won here, but he's had problems in past years. There he goes. After an open frame, the man that in both 79 and 80 was the tournament leader but lost on television. And there is that support on that right elbow. Strike up. Leading by 11. Can increase it here. 2nd frame. Title match. Yes, that is a 7-10, but it's on the right line of this championship pair.
The same leave that Earl Anthony had, but in a much different manner did he come about it. He goes right through the heart of the pins. He has the 4-7-10 standing. A pin rolls around, knocks out the 4. He'll only be able to get one of these pins.
And being the right-hander, he goes for the 10. Oh, this is a form of competition to take the wind right out of your sails. 2 strikes, 2 opens.
Chris, in the 24-game match play, they played each other twice. Earl Anthony lost to Tom Milton both times, 255 to 235 and 231 to 213. So Anthony hasn't beat Milton this week. Let's see what happens in match 3.
That one was way out on the edge of the channel, coming back up, but leaving the 3-6-10 for Florida's Tom Milton.
Almost no choice with this one. It goes almost in the channel here, breaks very sharply, then cuts through the heart of the pins, leaves the 3, 6, and 10. Let's see if Tom can convert it with that big hook.
He did it. Tom Milton, who finished second overall, the tournament leader, Earl Anthony. And he's done so often in his long career. Earl Anthony dominated play here, as you see. Steve Wunderlich, who won the first 2 matches here today, did lead in 1 round, but from 2 on, it was this man. Well, get a 2-8, and he adjusts his elbow and looks up here.
Well, you don't very often see Earl Anthony just pull the ball right at the nose, and that's what he was indicating with his elbow right there. He has a good profile we've seen many times, but in this particular shot, he just starts the ball right up in the split area, the 1-2-3, avoids it, and leaves a 2-4, easy conversion.
And no problem with the 2-4. The man that is married to this lady, Susie. Earl appeared in the championship round finals 10 times last year, winning 3. Now this year, it's his 4th round, championship round appearance. He's won 2, so he's shooting for his 3rd title this year. Leading by 1, spare working, shooting in the 4th. Okay, getting a strike on that often hard to figure out left lane of this championship pair. And we're in the title match, Bradley Bowl in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, suburb of Hartford. Championship match, Tom Milton won the semifinal game, 245 to Steve Wunderlich's 190. Right lane for Tom Milton, who had 10 strikes in his last victory. It's his 2nd strike through 4 frames of this match. Here's a play from behind.
Watch his arm swing, an excellent shot. He's outside, then inside. Now watch how this arm stays inside next to his left leg. See it? Now watch it drop inside. What a terrific shot. Right by his ankle, then the inside-out swing, much like you would want with a golf club, Chris, if you were hitting a hook.
And that double has gotten Tom Milton the lead against the #1 bowler in the world, Earl Anthony. Leads by 9. Milton. Anthony, though, can change that because he has a strike up in the 4th, now shooting in the 5th. Look at the crowd. They're just standing room only here. It's been that way all week. And, of course, bowling establishments are not built to provide room for a lot of spectators. They turn out when this man is competing. And he's back to a 1-pin lead, Bo. This is a good seesaw battle.
Excellent competition, Chris. And as you mentioned, it's been a sold-out sign on the front door of this building all week long, and great reason. These players are performs so well. Anthony right now with 49 in the third, 2 strikes working. Milton 48 in the third, double working. Anthony by 1.
Showing you what he's done all week. Earl Anthony averaging 229.8 throughout the week, 231 on this championship pair.
The trajectory of Earl Anthony's ball right out by the left channel, right along the side, just a medium hook, tremendous speed control, perfect strike.
This is a competitor that won't back off. Tom Milton of St. Petersburg gained great confidence in winning the Showboat Invitational. And as you see, he has strung 3, matching Earl Anthony now stroke for stroke in this, the last match. We're live in Windsor Locks, Connecticut.
Milton has bowled so well in championship round matches. His average is over 220 for a lifetime. His record, 3 wins, 2 losses. He needs number 4 to capture his second title.
What a break on the left side. So now, after stringing those, he has reached a string of 4. Earl Anthony trailing by 9 can take a 1-pin lead with a strike here in the 7th.
Anthony is such a good approach to match game play, Chris. He just tries to play himself in the lanes. It's difficult to psych him out. He probably doesn't even know if he's ahead or behind. He has an indication, but he's just working on his game.
4-bagger for the great Earl Anthony. His tempo, his head is just the way he keeps it so steady.
There's his strategy, very simple. He knows he can hit that pair of lanes, plenty of oil on the left. He's playing the outside line right to the game plan. So far, he's going at a 2:19 pace. Milton, a 2:18 pace.
Said he would bowl the remaining tournaments, Baltimore next week, then Long Island, followed by the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Had a little doubt the way he's running out that shot, that something might happen, and it did. Susie watching with all of you, the 7-pin standing.
You see the ball entering the 1-2 pocket. Now watch the key pin, the 4-pin. It lays down in the channel and doesn't carry out the 7. Anthony kind of blocked that out, but you see that 4-pin lay in the channel. It normally hits the 7 on a strike.
Anthony. We are level, we're even, and already reaching the 8th frame. 4-bagger going. Milton. Remarkable. 10 strikes in the last game. And now he's applying the pressure with a 10-pin lead and 5 in a row.
The big crank ball of Tom Milton. He's going to the bank with it right now, Chris. As you mentioned, the great pocket percentage. 10 strikes in the last game. He already has 6 strikes through 8 frames this game. He can put Anthony on the rope with a strike here in the 9th. He has a 5-bagger working.
So smoothly, but it's the 2-pin on the left lane.
Really good break there for Tom Milton as he gets 9 on that wide hit. The head pin goes to sideboard. Wipes out the 2, 4, 5, the 4, 5, and 8. Good break, easy spare. If he converts here, he will have a less than a 10-pin lead. It can go right down to the 10th.
All right, now Earl Anthony is up. Well, we have a winning combination watching in Evergreen, Colorado today, as he does often. One of my heroes, Willie Nelson, and his wife, Connie. We can tell him this, that his office manager, Gay Crawford, who is here, said everything's all right in the front office.
Ah, terrific. As Anthony goes through a mental checklist, he has a possible 238.
What else, he said?
Chris, he got a good break there. He left the 9-10 split standing, and the head pin just wiggled up there and knocked out the 10 pin. Watch the head pin go in the right-hand channel. There it's laying down there. Look at it. It stays in place, and just tips out the 10. If Earl left that, he'd have left himself wide open and in position to lose the match. Right now, he trails by just 10. He needs a double in the 10th.
All right, Earl Anthony. You look at the score sheet, you can see the pressure that Milton has put on. That 5-bagger and then a spare. Anthony with a 4 and then marking with 2.
Anthony with 3 strikes could shoot 227. That's the pace that Milton is going at right now as Anthony takes a double re-rack. Even Milton's studying that one. I've never seen that before, Chris.
Earl leading not only in money won this year, but in average 217. Marshall Holman at second with 215, and Milton third with 214.
That strike right there forces Tom Milton to mark. If Anthony can strike here on the second shot, Chris, the best possibility of a tie match we've had all year, it would be a 2-frame sudden death roll-off. This is the big one.
Well, that's what champions are made of, that ability to groove the swing and come through when you need them.
His best shots in the clutch.
Oh.
As our statistician Larry Lobb shows us, the match is all even right now. It's who can strike on the last frames. We still have a possibility of a tie.
Ending with 3 in a row. Earl Anthony, 227. 8 strikes in that 227, and now Milton, spare up, 9th.
Must strike on this ball. If Tom Milton strikes on this ball and spares, we have a tie. If he strikes twice, he wins. If he doesn't strike on this shot, Earl Anthony's the winner.
The biggest shot right now, right lane. All right. Now that that's out of the way, Nelson.
Chris, a prediction. We're going to have a tie. If Tom Milton spares in this frame instead of striking, we have a tie. If he opens, he loses. I think that we may have a tie match for the first time all year.
And as you see graphically, 1 strike plus 1 pin to win. But it's a shot. And a 27-year-old professional shows what he's made of. Tom Milton.
Just has to stay behind the foul line. If he had had a spare on that shot, we would have had a 227 tie, a strike. At any count, he's a winner.
All right, a 227 for Earl Anthony, $8,000. And for Tom Milton of St. Petersburg, his 2nd championship this year. So in his 3rd full year on the tour, He is getting it all together, winning the Big Showboat Invitational, and now the Greater Hartford Open. 235 for Milton, 227 for Earl Anthony. Milton with 8 strikes. We'll be back after this. Wasn't that something? Tom Milton winning his second PBA title. Earl Anthony going for his 42nd. 235 to 227, and here is the victor who won in Las Vegas, and you undoubtedly love it in Connecticut.
Yeah, it's certainly a great place to bowl, that's for sure. People have been real nice to us here. Lane conditions have been super. I couldn't ask for anything more, that's for sure.
Tom, what's the key to controlling that big hook when the heat's on, the pressure's on?
For me, it's just I've been bowling that way for a long time, and that's normal for me. It's like a straight player trying to keep it going up the boards. For me, that's very normal.
I mean, a lot of people going out and buying a support like this to bowl, right? Ken West is here at Bradley Bowl, where it's always so hospitable and friendly, and you're going to think he's hospitable too, Ken.
Tom, with this plaque and this check for $15,000, excuse me, I want to welcome you. You just lost $5,000. I want to welcome you as our Greater Hartford PBA Open champion. We look forward to you to coming back next year and defending your title again. Congratulations.
All right, thank you very much.
Ah, beautiful clock now. You'll never be late. Not that you ever are.
Occasionally. I'd like to thank Ken West and everybody here. They've been absolutely super all week.
What's your the rest of the season, your plans? You're going to bowl in all 3?
I intend to, unless something comes up. My finger's kind of torn apart, so anything's possible, but I'll probably go ahead and bowl.
Do you have any heroes on the tour?
I had always kind of looked up to Earl. He, I still do. I shouldn't say was. He just makes so many good shots. It's something to try to emulate.
Well, it's always great to have a pace setter in any sport, and of course he has done that. And now in your 3rd full year in the tour, with 2 in 1 year, congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Tom Milton is the winner, 235 to 227. So we'd like to remind you that today's program was produced by Peter Lingerhart and directed by Norm Samet. Technical Director Bob Bernthal, Associate Director Jimmy Roberts. Now this is Chris Schenkel along with Nelson Burton Jr. saying so long from Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Coming up next, United States